Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm Joey, and I was poking around the Rivals menu this week, and I found this. It's the Women in Automotive History Challenge, and that's all great, except it's on Hockenheim in the wet. And honestly, this might as well be called the Slip and Slide Wreckfest 9000. 9000 being the number of times I'm going to eat the wall, because we're going to be driving this beast, the 98 Merc AMG CLK GTR. It's a rear wheel drive monster, and we're on this track right here. You can see it's an absolute swamp, but those sick bastards at turn 10 aren't going to stop me from setting a lap time here. So we're going to kick off lap 1, our ghost right behind us, and he's just going to go straight into the wall, ending his life before the lap even starts. In hindsight, honestly, he probably did the right thing, because my next few laps were an absolute disaster. Here I am in the sand on lap 2. Lap 3, I was sliding on the last few turns there. I was up on the curb sliding. I was getting into the grass and sliding, confirming this as the slip and slide challenge.
You got a long, hot summer, you got nothing to do. I tell you, slip and slide is a way to get through. You get wet on slip and slide. You get cool, it's a long, wet ride. And you're hot on a slip and slide. Slip and slide.
The original Slip and Slide, and now the new Slip and Splash from Whammo.
And now introducing the Slip and Fuck You from turn 10. This absolute monstrosity of a challenge they've got going here. I mean, obviously, I kid turn 10. I'm totally joking around. They're doing very important work, like making me want to gouge my eyes out with a spoon that's been soaked in ghost pepper sauce for the past like 3 hours. So, yeah, it's all good here. Sheesh, a little harsh. But, alright, anyways, back to the racing we got going on here. So, lap 7 here, I finally kind of started to really work out where my braking points were. And that was really critical to at least staying on the track, and from there kind of starting to get a little closer to the apex and carrying more speed through the corners. Obviously, after the straight there, I totally sent it wide, but we kept it on the track, and the goal of this lap was really just to put in a clean time so we get something on the leaderboard. And I nearly run off the track there, just squeaking by, keeping 2 tires within the boundaries. Now, coming around turn 6 and onto turn 7 here, I realized I needed to gradually get onto the throttle, which is, I guess, something different for me. I just really want to slam the throttle down, so I really needed to just gradually step onto the gas, not just totally put the pedal to the metal. I guess I'm probably not used to it because I haven't come across an actual rain race online recently. Like, let me know in the comments, guys, if you've had a rain race online, because whenever I get a rain race voted in, it seems like it only gets foggy and it never gets wet. The track never gets slippery. So I don't know, let me know. But here we are, finally completing lap 7, and I'm gonna set a clean 1 minute 54.3. So finally got a clean lap in. Not a fast lap, but a clean one. And it wasn't too much later that I was reminded just how bad I am at this game.
Raindrops are falling on my head, and just like the guy whose feet are too big for his bed, nothing seems to fit. Those raindrops are falling on my head, they keep falling. So I just did me some talking to the sun, and I said I didn't like the way he got things done.
So by lap 19, I was just looking for excuses, and I found this massive jug of motor oil just sitting there on the side of the track. And so honestly, I probably think turn 10 was just spilling some of that onto the track, totally ruining my lap times and messing with me. I mean, there's no way that all of these mistakes come down to my mediocre skill. There's no way. There's no way. Anyways, coming up on turn 3 here onto the Parabolica, just running over the curb, trying to carry as much speed as I can, kind of losing the back end a little bit, so compromising a little bit of the momentum that we had coming through the turn, and braking just before the first board and coming up on the hairpin, braking in pretty nicely actually, just clipping the apex, coming out in first gear, onto the power early, and down the back straight we go. Coming up on turn 5 here. Now at this point I was actually lifting off the throttle through the turn, but later on I watched some replays of the guys that set fast lap times on the leaderboard, and I realized that the inside of that corner I could actually cut quite a bit over and keep my foot down. So for this session, I guess I was just kind of focused on setting a couple preliminary lap times, but later on I will end up keeping my foot all the way down through the corner, but for now, just focus on those lap times. All right, driving through the last few corners here as the tears of all the players that have tried this challenge are just pouring down on me. Coming down into second gear for the second to last corner, trying to carry as much speed as I can through this last one onto the power, coming up to the line, and we cross with a 152.9. That's an improvement of about a second and a half. I have a celebratory slide into the tire wall, and I'm off to check the leaderboards to see where I came in. All right, so that lap put me at 80th in the Americas, which I was actually pretty happy with, and 227th in the world. I thought for sure that would put me outside the top 500, but hey, I'm pretty happy with that. I know I made a lot of mistakes on that lap, so there's definitely a lot of room for improvement here. The next day, I hopped back in for another session of the slip and slide, and it took me 12 laps, but eventually I kind of started feeling things out again and got a clean lap in. The start of this lap was actually really good. Coming through turn 2 here, sticking really close to that right side so I can maximize the speed I take through turn 4 onto the parabolica, but skipping to the last section of the track, this is where things start to unravel for me. And you can see the ghost here starts creeping up on me and actually overtakes me there. And now I've got to remain focused, even though the ghost is taking up pretty much the entire bottom half of my screen, which to me can be just as intimidating as having a whole ass car there. Coming around turn 15 and heading towards the final corner, the ghost is actually going to be ahead of me, but takes a very narrow, almost kind of defensive line, and I'm going to have the run on the straight and just finish ahead of him. That's going to be a 152.8, so an improvement of about a tenth of a second, but turn 10 is not going to let me off that easy. It's going to be a long while before I set another clean one. Just play the music. Play it.
Raindrops are falling on my head, and just like the guy whose feet are too big for his bed, nothing seems to fit. Those raindrops are falling on my head, they keep falling. So I just did me some talking to the sun, and I said I didn't like the way he got things done.
By lap 24 though, the storm started to clear. Or maybe I decided to finally get my head out of my ass and actually put a clean lap in. No matter what it was, I was finally feeling one with the car as I nearly went off the track there, just keeping 2 tires on. And for the millionth time, coming up to corner 2, again keeping it nice and tight on the right side through corner 3 to get a solid exit onto 4. Now I get a better run onto the straight than the ghost, and I'll start inching towards him here, but this is where I really start channeling my inner Senna. I'm becoming one with the car and the rain and my environment, and as we're braking into the hairpin, it's going to be perfect. I'm going to clip the apex, get an awesome run right out of the turn. I'm already just blazing in front of the ghost now. It's looking good. I do end up wimping out here a little bit on turn 7. I lift off the gas just to make sure I stay on the track, and the Ghost gains on me just a tiny bit there, but it doesn't really matter because I totally nail turns 8 through 10 here. Again, gradually getting onto the throttle and nearly going off the track, but just keeping it on, and now we've got a great run into the last section here. Now it's the home stretch coming up on turn 12 here. I never really had a breaking point for this one, so it was just kind of break and pray for me. My prayers were obviously answered as I'm still on the road and not eating sand. Through turns 13 and 14, as the helicopter above is recording some really important history here today. Coming around the final turn now, not focused at all on what's behind me, just focusing on the turn ahead, on the final straight, and I'm home free, cursing the giant bottle of motor oil as we go by. That's a 151.6 sliding into the tire wall. Let's go. So, drum roll, please. That lap ended up being 32nd in the Americas. I was so happy with that, but it was also 88th in the world. I couldn't believe I improved that much on my time. It was like a second and a little bit, maybe like a couple tenths. So I was so happy. But anyways, guys, that's gonna do it for this video. If you tried this challenge, let me know what your time was in the comments, and let me know if you beat me. I'm sure everyone will. But yeah, that's this week's video. Had a lot of fun making it. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, everybody.